welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am here to talk to you guys about the stock market and what's been going on. Today is a really nice day, actually. The market has done pretty well. It's up right now by about 300 points. And I wanted to give you guys some quick insights into this. And I want to say what's up to everybody on TikTok. My TikTok, if you just look up Boyce Watkins, you'll find me on TikTok. But be really careful because there are a lot of fake TikTok accounts out there that look like me, but it's not me. I will never be in your DM asking you for money or anything like that. So just be really cautious about that. I don't want anybody to lose anything. And also, those of you that are coming to the All Black National Convention this weekend, feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. You can get the schedule. You can also find out about our financial breakout sessions, as well as our sessions that we're going to have with therapists and medical doctors, attorneys, all kinds of Black experts in the community that are there to solve problems for our community. All right. So anyway, so here's what's going on right now that's really interesting. So it looks like the stock market is having a pretty powerful day. And that's great considering all the risk factors that kind of exist in the market right now. I mean, right now you've got a lot happening with the Middle East. You've got a lot going on in terms of what they call potential black swan events. Black swan events are events that are not really predictable by a rational person, but could pop in and kick you in the butt. Like I think I just saw today some video where Russia and Iran were basically saying that they plan to invade the United States, or they could invade the United States. Now, is that the case? I don't know. What do y'all think? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that Russia or Iran could actually invade the U.S.? That will be hard to imagine. But the interesting thing that I've learned over time is that you should never say never. And you should always sort of keep your eyes open for the possibilities in terms of what could happen, what might happen. So anyway, give me a yes in the chat also if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure that I'm coming through all right. And you're watching the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. In addition to that, this podcast is also on Spotify and it's on Apple. So if you go to Spotify and Apple and just look up Boyce Watkins, you'll find me there. All right. So I'm going to read some of this to you and give you guys some insights on this. What's up, Dr. Bob? How you doing today, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right. And Tanner Collins says, no, you cannot hear me. Can you guys hear me? Give me a yes if you can hear me. I want to make sure I'm coming through all right. All right. So basically, the primary catalysts that are driving the stock market to go up today have to do with two major factors that they're mentioning in the media. One is that they believe that the Federal Reserve is not going to increase interest rates anymore. That's a very big deal because the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates has been one of the big headaches of the market for the last several months, probably the last year or so. It's been killing your stocks, kicking in the butt. I know it's been painful. It's really shifted things in terms of the mortgage market. I was talking to you guys earlier about the housing market and what's happening in housing and how that's kind of becoming a little bit of a risk factor. The prices of houses are going up. The price of rent is going up. Inventory available in terms of houses that people can buy is going down. Commercial real estate is headed straight to hell. Commercial real estate's in big trouble because a lot of commercial real estate developers are trying to refinance their loans and they can't refinance because banks are not lending the way they used to. They're not only charging higher interest rates. That's one problem. But what really becomes a problem is when they're not even doing business at all, when they're not supporting what you're doing at all. And so this is going to cause problems for a lot of startup companies, a lot of real estate developers, et cetera, who were used to that previous regime, the regime before this one, which was when money was super cheap. When money was super cheap, it made sense to be a borrower. It made sense. It didn't make sense to be a saver or a lender because the rates were so low. Now everything's changing. Everything is changing. It is changing. It is changing. Did I say that it was changing? Did I mention that? It's changing. So now when you have this, the guy BlackRock, Larry Fink, by the way, if you don't know BlackRock, you need to learn about BlackRock. They control more wealth than most large countries. I don't know if y'all know that, like $9 trillion in assets or something. Larry Fink was describing this as a once-in-a-lifetime interest environment where you can actually buy risk-free, low-risk assets and get this massive guaranteed ROI, which makes bonds very competitive relative to stocks. So now it's sort of a different environment. That whole model that people got used to the last decade or so, where you go borrow, and then you're paying like a crappy little interest rate, so you don't mind keeping that debt on the books. Now we have an environment where a little bit more economic discipline is required. It's also an environment that finance professors like me can understand a little bit better. This makes more sense to us based on the economic models that we studied in school. We didn't study models where interest rates were zero or close to zero and you could just borrow forever and there was no major consequence for it. And so a lot of startups are going to get their butts kicked because they haven't learned how to do something that businesses need to learn how to do at some point, which is make a profit. And so ultimately, you're just seeing a shift in economics in terms of what skills are required to survive in this economy. The other factor that people are referring to that might be a good catalyst for this market has to do with corporate earnings being announced this week. So this week, a lot of companies are announcing their earnings. Most analysts are pretty bullish on earnings. And what does that mean? That means that this could be the beginning in terms of the market having a little bit of a boost. You might actually see a pretty massive boost if these earnings come through the way they're expecting them to. So the big leaders for today are Nike and Intel, Johnson & Johnson, Bank of America, Netflix are going to announce their earnings this week. Let me see. Charles Schwab went up 5% today. What else am I looking at here? JPMorgan Chase, Wells Fargo, UnitedHealth all went up recently. And they said that some on Wall Street are bracing for more volatility into year end as yields and oil prices rise. So the price of oil is heavily affected by what's going on in the Middle East. Whenever there is chaos in the Middle East that affects the oil supply, the United States, we actually devoured our strategic strategic petroleum reserve. Say it right, Boyce. Anyway, we pretty much devoured that. And now we're kind of wondering if that was a good idea. And the thing that I'm really concerned about right now is this freaking war. If Hezbollah gets involved and starts backing Hamas, and it's interesting to watch how this war is kind of going down. If you pay attention, what I have observed, and again, I don't know what your position is on this war. I am not here to judge that position. It is very divisive, and I understand both perspectives. I really do. And also, I would encourage anybody that has an opinion on the war to just do the research too, though. Like, do the research on the history of that conflict. It is very complex. It's not simple. And one thing I've observed that's really interesting is, and let me know if you've noticed this too, it seems that most regular people are in support of the Palestinians. They feel that what the Israelis are doing is like a little bit too much. It's overkill. It's disproportionate. That's the term that they've used. It's not to say that something bad didn't happen to Israel. That invasion was pretty terrible, and it affected me. My brother was in Israel not too long ago, and I was like, holy crap! If he had been over in Israel, I would have had to go chop some heads off to go get my brother back. But then so I noticed most people tend to be in favor of the Palestinians. Give me a yes if you support the Palestinians generally in this conflict. If you feel that the Palestinian oppression is problematic and you feel that something needs to be done about that, right? Well, the other thing I've noticed at the same time is that most people that either have money or are celebrities or billionaire types, they tend to support the Israelis. Anybody else notice that? I listened to a bunch of billionaires talking about the war, and in their world, it was like, they invaded Israel. Israel should defend itself. This is terrible what they did to Israel, right? And I'm not saying that you have to agree or disagree, and I'm not even going to really state a clear perspective on this. I'm going to sound like I'm riding the fence because this ain't a battle I'm trying to pick, to be honest with you, because I picked the battle of Black people. That's what I'm looking at mostly, right? But it was interesting to me to see the difference in terms of economic status, because the Jewish community is very good at allocating resources and acquiring resources. So those who tend to have wealth and power, they don't really want to upset that community. Like, you saw what happened to Nick Cannon, you saw what happened to Kanye West, etc. But then those who are part of the masses, I think they're dealing with millions of people around the world who say, no, they need to stop sort of locking those Palestinian people in that little, those little strips of land and forcing them to barely get by. So it's interesting. It's a conflict that's going to emerge again. It could get bigger, but it's been contained before. But you can never be too careful when you're dealing with nuclear weapons in the background. It could get real messy real quick. So how does this affect your portfolio? Well, you better protect it. in my opinion. I think you should be ready for anything. We as we talk about in class, things like put options and things like that can defend your portfolio. Stop loss orders. Today's a good day to do that. Remember, you always buy your umbrellas in the rain. You don't buy, scratch that. You buy your umbrellas in the sunshine. You don't buy your umbrellas in the rain. Umbrellas are really expensive in the rain, but if you buy them when the sun is out, then you can get them cheap because nobody's thinking about umbrellas. But because we're all investors here and we're all smart people here, we're intelligent Black people here. And even if you're not Black right now, you're an intelligent Black person because that's the space that you're in. We're going to go ahead and prepare for when things go bad, because believe me, when times are good, you as an investor, you want to be thinking about when times go bad. When times are bad, you want to be thinking about when times are good. Okay. All right. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's an Amazon bestseller. You can get a copy at drboycebooks.com. Also my website, boycewatkins.com. There's lots of free resources there, things like that. In addition to that, the All Black National Convention happens this weekend. We're going to be in Atlanta. We are deep. I'm bringing all my intelligent friends. We got panels and workshops and intelligent Black people solving problems specifically for our communities. The only convention that I know of like this anywhere on the planet, and it's all for you. So join us in Atlanta. Go to allblacknationalconvention.com. We also have virtual passes if you can't get there physically. Just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. Now, someone said you're right that they were about them trying to shadow ban you. Yeah, they try, and it's worked a little bit, but honestly, when because I'm a problem solver, I knew I would have a problem because I'm a problem solver. I'm not just a Black person who complains about race and complains about racism. I actually know how to fix it. I know how to fix the racial wealth gap. So my theory was that if they found someone with a big platform who's really able to solve the problem and to actually convince Black people to support ourselves and each other as opposed to other people, I felt like that would make you a threat. Just talking honestly about racism and racial equality in an authentic way makes people afraid of you, right? I don't beat anybody up. I ain't gonna cuss nobody out. I have lots of white friends, but I have people that think that because I talk the way I do, that I must be a scary, terrible Black man, and it doesn't make sense to me because I'm not a thug. I'm not a whatever. I'm just a guy who has a perspective, and it's validated by history, by facts, by information, and that's it. So I can't help that. So what we did was we actually prepared. We invested carefully. We have many platforms, in many spaces. So when they took away my Instagram page that had 430,000 subscribers, it's okay. I got 3 million on Facebook. I got another 1.5 million on YouTube on different channels. You don't see it though. Like the channel you're watching might only have 150,000 or 200,000 or whatever, but we've got 1.5 million on YouTube alone. So it's worked. The system is working, and we're getting the message out, and we've helped over 10 million people invest for the first time in the Black Business School. So we're getting it done. So if you want to take a look at the Black Business School, you can get started for free. Actually, one way to get free information is text the word stock to 31996. If you text the word stock to 31996, I will send you free stuff right away, and it will change your life. I guarantee it. All right. So anyway, happy investing, everybody. I'm going to come back later on at some point, maybe this week before I head to the convention. But I just wanted to let you guys know what's happening in the market. There's a really interesting article in Newsweek about CEO Bob Iger and how he was the CEO of Disney. He is the CEO, and how he came into Disney and they really thought he was going to change everything. And it's been a complete mess since he got back. And so you may want to take a look at that. It's really an interesting piece that they wrote there. And also with this market being up today, I really would be shocked if we didn't have some volatility this week. But then again, though, I can tell you the analysts expect the earnings announcements to be very positive, which means that you could see this market just really take off. So I'll just be watching. I can't make a clear prediction one way or the other. These things are hard to predict. All right. So anyway, have a good day, everybody. God bless you. And thank you so much for listening. And I'll talk to you.